recording. Yes. That's that like little face you made. We're back once again, everybody. It is another Monday. How you doing?
Welcome to Two Black Girls, One Rose.
Where two black-ass girls invade the whitest show on earth.
The Bachelorette.
I'm Natasha.
And I'm Justine.
And we just watched episode 6. I don't know why I do this every episode. I'm like, we just watched episode, I don't know. I don't know the numbers. Why do I keep setting myself up? So stupid. We just watched the latest episode. Yeah. Y'all know what we're talking about. And a lot of drama. These guys are starting to go crazy. And Becca is not here for it. She just looks tired. She's just tired of the bullshit.
That's it. Yeah. That's it. She doesn't even look annoyed. She just looks over it. Just literally completely done. Yeah.
And she said a couple times, like, she's emotionally exhausted. And that's, like, one of the worst exhaustions. Not even just physical exhaustion, but when you're just so emotionally spent, like, that's when you really just are tired. Just want to sit down, have a nap, and not talk to anyone. She's constantly talking about her feelings, with multiple people all the time. That is exhausting.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I hear her. What are your initial thoughts on this episode?
So, my initial thoughts is, I was watching this and I was like, oh, you know, because I always say, you guys, to Natasha, oh, I've never watched this before. Like, is this how it happens usually? And this is the first season where I can say that I've seen The Bachelorette this point before.
Yes, with Rachel.
And, yeah, with Rachel. And I do feel like this is an excessive amount of petty drama.
Yes.
This is getting to be really excessive.
Yes. This is, take it from someone who's seen multiple seasons of the show, this season feels particularly petty.
Yeah. And I think because Rachel's season had real serious drama, because there was a serious racist in the house, it was a lot more, maybe the guys bonded a little bit better even. But like even with Garrett and even with Lincoln being a sex offender, it's still, they're still fighting about like petty bullshit. Yeah. So I don't really know what that's about. Right. But also there's a lot of really cheap dates on this season and I'm not loving it. But it is a lot of cheap experiences. Yeah, a lot of like, so we're just gonna spend the day exploring X. Yes, exploring. But there's no actual activity set. They're just walking around. No. Yeah. Nope. Which, to be fair, in the real world, that is a more realistic date than that's true. Half of the bullshit they be doing on the Bachelor. But yeah, but the budget's not there. They're not. I mean, at least let them cruise around in like a cool car or like cruise around with like some cool perk. It's just like, nah, y'all just gonna walk around Richmond for 2 hours. Oh my God, Ari went to Italy, he went to Paris, he went to all over the place. And this girl is getting Richmond, Virginia. She's getting a lot of domestic dates. Where's the international stuff? I mean, we're going to the Bahamas next week, they said. Yeah, I hope from there it's going to start the international leg of the show. Yeah, I hope so too, because the Bahamas is not that far. No, that might as well be domestic. I mean, it's literally going to Miami. Like, literally. So those are my initial thoughts. What about you, friend? Okay. Initial thoughts. I am kind of a fan of Jason, Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. He really came through. We said last season, or last episode, like, I was hoping that we would see him this episode because he's always getting one of the first date roses, but we have no idea who this person is, like, whatsoever. Clearly she likes him a lot, but we didn't get to see it. But I'm kind of a Jason fan. He feels very like no nonsense. He's stayed out of the drama in the house. And just the way we'll get into his date, but like the way he said certain things, it felt like it read genuine to me. Yeah, definitely. Versus a lot of the guys are saying a lot of emptiness words. Even we'll talk about Leo's date. I wasn't really here for it. God. Yeah, I was on Instagram during Leo's date. Yeah, but anyway. I zoned out a lot on that date.
But with Jason, I felt a kind of sincerity from him.
Yeah.
And I like that because Becca is, like, clearly not here for the bullshit, and she's been dealing with a lot of bullshit, and I feel like he's one of the good guys. And so I just got a good read on him, and I like him.
Nice.
So that was a thought. I also, initial thought, Chris, there's always the one person in every single season of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette who is the Chris. Like, they end up sending themselves home because they just can't hack it on the show.
Yeah.
The show brings out the worst in them. And, like, Chris literally looks like a lunatic. And he's getting a horrendous edit. The funny thing is, like, he could be, like, a decent guy in real life, but in this process, he cannot hack it. And he is bringing out the worst. Crystal was the same way. Crystal, maybe in real life, she was actually, like, I mean, we clowned her a ton on the show, but she could have been just, like, a real human, like, a decent person. But in the show, like, this very weird vacuum of, like, competitiveness, and you have producers who are, like, preying on you all the time, or preying on your vulnerabilities. There's always that one person who cannot hack it, and they end up literally sending himself home. He was his own worst enemy. On this episode and the past episodes, like, everything was going well with him and Becca for the most part, and he basically talked himself into lunacy. And, like, it's now home, like, so
I felt
crazy.
that same way about Chris. I felt like this guy is perfectly nice, and he is out here looking a fool,
looking nuts. Like, absolutely unhinged. Good Lord. So yeah, that was my initial thoughts, but we'll get into all of that. Of course, we have a few announcements. We have a very exciting announcement.
Yes. Very, very
so
exciting.
definitely stick around. Don't speed ahead. Firstly, want to encourage everybody to hit us up on Twitter and email and Facebook. We're very live and active. Our Twitter handle is the number 2 BLK Girls, the number 1 Rose.
And our email, if you want to email us, you'll get a shout out. We love you. Is the number 2 Black Girls, the number 1 Rose at gmail.com.
And hit us up on Facebook. Search 2 Black Girls 1 Rose on Facebook.
Yep.
So we always encourage you guys every single week to please rate, review, subscribe. Justine and I have now decided that we want to do a very special contest. So we've decided, through the reviews and the emails and everything that we get, we really want a way to, like, interact with you guys a bit more. That's the first thing. Second thing is we really want to increase our reviews on iTunes, because we want to help grow this community and help get 2 Black Girls 1 Rose out there and have more people find us in the podcast world. And so we are doing a contest where we will choose one lucky iTunes reviewer to call into the podcast, and you'll get to kiki with Justine and I a little bit, and also give you the opportunity to share with everybody your Get Me to Wakanda moment, your Nigga You Ain't Shit moment, and your Becca You Aight moment. And so we're very excited for this little contest. Yeah,
this is super exciting.
Super exciting. So basically how this is going to work. Between now and mark your calendars for Thursday, July 19th, we want to encourage you to run over to iTunes. Please rate us, write us a review. On Thursday the 19th, we will be choosing one review at random, and we will announce the username of the lucky reviewer on our Twitter and our Facebook. So please go over and follow us on social media so you can see the winner. And we will announce the username, and we'll urge that person to get in contact with us, and then we'll have you come on to our July 23rd show and record with us.
Which should be a good episode. 2 weeks from now should be either hometowns or fantasy suites or something.
It's gonna be something juicy, something international. It's gonna be real down to the wire. So we are very excited to bring somebody on here to spend a couple moments kikiing with us and hear what are your moments from the episode. So starting today, run on over if you haven't already. We tell you every week. Now really go do it if you want to be if you want to come and chit chat with us. All right. Okay, so we now also want to chat a little bit about some church announcements. We do. Wipe out your program. Justine, what do we have?
Church announcements.
Got some emails this week.
So we had one email from Schulier. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right because your email was so cute.
Mm-hmm.
She talked about the time when we compared Miss Becca M to the ladies who sell shea butter on 125th, which is what I remember that outfit so vividly. So thank you, Schulier, for reminding us about that.
Shout out to our Harlem listeners, because Schulier lives in Harlem with us. Shout out, love it. I know they exist, but this is the first Harlem listener email we've gotten, so that was very exciting. Yeah. Because she knows that means you get our references. We talk about La Marina all the time, and the Senegalese selling shea butter. She gets it. She know.
Oh my God, so funny. And then we got another really fascinating yet sweet and lovely email all at the same time from Lainey. And also shout out to Lainey's boyfriend Colton.
Yes.
Who found us. And I am still baffled as to Colton finding us before Lainey did.
Before Lainey. That's hilarious.
She said that she found us through her boyfriend Colton and how they laugh with us every week. And they are, white as toast and still love what we say. So thank you, Lainey. That was really, really funny to read.
Yes. Loved your email. Loved your description as a basic, tiny, blonde white girl. Just living in her truth. Appreciate it.
Love it. And then we got a email from Joy. And Joy was spilling all of the kind of production details behind being one of those extras who's sharing in them concerts for absolutely no one. And she was in the date this week. She is from Virginia, and she was an extra in, I believe, the Beccalection.
Oh, jeez. You think it was that? I thought it was the date with, actually, I don't really know. It could be the Beccalection or the one-on-one with, what's his face?
Leo?
With Leo. Didn't she say that somebody was performing?
She did. She said that Morgan Evans was performing. I remember the name because it sounded like literally anyone.
So it was the Leo date then she was on.
But she had to dress in jewel tones, and whenever you go to a talk show, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
You have to dress in jewel tones and no patterns, no white. And she said that, you had to cheer at certain times and all the behind the scenes stuff. You got to wait around for the people. You got to wait around for them to set up everything.
A lot of waiting.
Yeah, lots and lots of waiting around. So thanks, Joy, for that insight. It was cool.
Very, very cool. It's interesting when people hear, or I'm wondering how, I don't know if she addressed this in her email, how they hear that The Bachelor's coming to their town to film.
Yeah.
And
I think she did. I think her friend told her or something.
Yeah. That's so in New York, there's always filming something, so we would never know.
Always. And they never need anyone.
And they don't need nobody because there's a million people already lined up for everything.
Million people. There's no reason to pay anyone, no reason to tell anybody to dress in a jewel tone. Nothing.
And people in New York love waiting. They love waiting on a good line.
They do.
That's the thing. If they were filming The Bachelor in Harlem or anywhere, tourists would just be lined up for it. They don't even know if they're lined up for it, but they'd get a full room of extras real quick. So thank you, Joy, for sharing your perspective, because probably I've heard it otherwise. Is that it for church announcements?
That's it.
All right. Do you know what time it is, guys?
Oh, girl, it is finally time, girl.
It's finally time. It's time for a Peter and Eric
update.
Oh my God. Is this our first for the season?
Yeah. And Becca has been to 3 places.
Right. Peter and Eric, our original booze. So I'll go first. Peter ain't doing shit. This is obviously about an Eric update, but I had to just put in something for Peter. Peter is still just working out, playing with his dog, selling random products on Instagram.
I was about to say, is he selling? Good.
Still selling some stuff, yeah. I'm not interested, so I don't even know what he's selling. Just like random shit. One thing I did notice though, like his Instagram followers, he's at 501.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, it dropped like that?
Okay. He has 501,000 Instagram followers. Mm-hmm. His followers are dropping.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because when he left the season, I'm almost sure he was at 500. At one point, I'm almost positive he was at 550,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I was at 501. So, like, that's very interesting. Like, the followers are falling off. What does that mean for his brand? Does he give a shit? Like,
he must, because he's doing sponsored content.
Right. And I don't even know how this shit works, but you need followers. And hopefully like an uptick of followers. So if your followers are dropping, I don't know what that means for business, but
yeah,
I still follow.
I think it has to do with like percentage engagement.
Maybe that, yeah. Like, are half of these followers like Russian bots, or do they actually engage and like the tweets and things? I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, that's my little update for Peter. What about your man Eric?
Well, my man Eric is going to paradise.
He's going to paradise!
And big shout out to Laura and Will, both of who emailed us with this update. They didn't get it during the church announcements, but thanks, guys, for emailing us, complete with his headshot. His shirtless headshot. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Oh my God, I'm a little nervous because the last time my man was on a show like this, he did not make it far.
He didn't make it past the first episode.
Sure didn't.
Sure did not.
Sure didn't. So
hopefully he fares better. So yes, Bachelor in Paradise cast was announced. I'm very excited. This cast looks crazy.
Yes, it looks good.
It looked good. I'm more excited for Bachelor in Paradise than I am for this here season.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm ready. So aside from Eric being there, which we're obviously excited to see, hopefully he fares better. We don't know. Mm-hmm. We do want to quickly go through the cast, because I know once they announced the cast, like a lot of people on Twitter were talking, like, I think the general consensus is that people are very excited. There's a lot of good people on this cast. Yeah. So we'll go through them quickly. First up, Angela from Nick Viall season. I don't know who this is, so
no clue.
She's very pretty. I'm sure she'll be a hot commodity, but I don't know who she is. Next is Annalise.
Annalise. I'm surprised she got on the plane. I'm surprised she's staying at the hotel. Did she swim in the pool? Is she drinking the drinks? What are the memories? What are the triggers that are going to pop up?
What are the memories? Oh my God. Annalise is in paradise. She is shaping up to be the next Ashley I. Because Ashley I was like the emotional girl. She was a good crier. They could always rely on her for some tears. So I feel like now she's married, or not married, she's engaged and is hopefully moving on to greener pastures. And Annalise might wedge herself into that little slot there. We'll see. Yeah. She looks great in her photo. I'll give her that.
Yeah, she does.
Really good. Next is Astrid from Nick Viall season. I don't know her. So on Nick Viall, did you watch Nick's season? No.
I only watched the last 2 episodes.
The last 2 episodes. So Nick's season, there were like 3 or 4 girls who looked literally exactly the same. They were tall, skinny, brunette white girls, the same length of hair, same general bone structure. Like, they all looked the same. She was of that package, and like all of those girls, I just never paid attention to her. I didn't get to know them at all. I was too focused on like getting to know Rachel, and basically that was it. So Astrid is one of those girls. She made it fairly far, that I do remember, but I just don't know anything about her.
Yeah, she looks like Vanessa, the one he picked.
Right. Vanessa was part of the pack. Yeah. Vanessa, Astrid, there was like 2 other girls. They all looked exactly the same to me, so we'll see Astrid in paradise. Our girl Bibiana is going to be there.
Our girl.
Back at it. This is her 3rd chance at love.
Oh my God, it is.
It's her 3rd chance.
Oh my gosh.
She was a hot commodity in Winter Games, so I could definitely see her being fully in her element here. She's on the beach. This is her literal element.
More her style.
More her style. Yeah. So excited to watch Bibs. Chelsea from Ari's season.
Yeah, Chelsea the mama.
The resident, I was gonna say the resident baby mama. No, the resident single mama. Or baby mama. She's a mother. Looking for that.
Yeah.
Best title in the world. And she's here looking for love. We'll see who she rocks out to. Next is David from Becca's season, who he ain't gonna get no action in Paradise. None.
You guys, his photo is literally the collarbone up, and I could tell he's short.
Yeah, he looked like he's on his knees.
Like, yep, you could tell he's petite.
Very, very petite stature. Man. There's some big dudes coming into this house. He's not even gonna be looked like they literally will not even be able to see him because he's so small and being overpowered by all the other greatness that's gonna be on the show.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, David, he's just gonna be there to like cause drama / might go home like the first night because ain't nobody gonna be cheering for him. So that's him. Eric, we already talked about. Very excited.
Love.
Oh Lord. Oh my God. Y'all, grocery store Joe looks like a meal and a snack.
Looks like
and
a buffet.
A full-on, all-inclusive buffet in this here photo. Every time I see him, like, on Instagram, on Twitter, he just gets better looking. He didn't look like this on Becca's season. And he was cute.
He was so cute. And I don't know how he's getting cuter literally by the day.
Yeah, with every new photo I see. And I love following him on Instagram. You notice he like on his Instagram live, he like reviews, quote unquote reviews restaurants in his own way. And it's always like so choppy. He's like, I'm at Bob's Burgers, and then he'll like look off to the corner, like say something to his friend. He's like, okay, so I'm back and I'm about to eat this burger. I'll let you know how it is. And then the next photo is like a screenshot of the burger, and then he's like C+. Like, I don't know what kind of review. Clearly not getting any social media like influencer training. You don't know what he's doing.
None.
Love him. None. He's just so endearing and looks fucking beautiful in this photo.
He looks so fine.
Jesus Christ. I'm like really protective of Joe, so I don't know who.
John? Oh, no, Joe.
Who he's going. And John, speaking up next is John. Venmo John, also going to be in Paradise, who we said at the last episode that we were not wanting to see him in Paradise because we think he's better than us. But Joe and John, I'm very, very, very protective of.
Yeah.
I don't know who in this house they are going to end up with. I'm nervous.
Me too, because nobody's good enough. Because honestly, Joe really needs to pick me up and swoop me over to Chicago. That really just needs to happen. And then John has millions of dollars. So
what? Like
what? What are you gonna do with what's her name? I even forget all their names already.
I don't know. Astrid or whatever. Like
Astrid, yeah. What are you gonna do with her?
Basically, we are meant to be with these guys, and
right.
No one is good enough because the standard is Justina and Natasha. So
exactly, and these girls don't live up to that.
No, of course not. So yeah, very excited to see more of them, but also anxious to see who the hell they're going to end up with and whether or not we're going to like them by the end of Paradise because
oh my God,
the show has
so
the potential
sad.
to make anyone out to be just a complete. I mean, Dean by the end of last season, nobody fucked with Dean like after his stint in Bachelor in Paradise. So a little nervous about Joe and John. Next we have Jordan, of course. We already know he was going to be in Paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Kendall will be in Paradise.
No surprise there.
No surprise. Not really excited to see her. I find Kendall very boring.
Yeah. They're trying to make her interesting because she does weird stuff, but she's boring.
But she's just boring.
Yeah. And
also, I feel like the type of guy that Kendall... The type of guy that's, like, on her wavelength isn't a type of guy that goes on The Bachelor. Or The Bachelor in Paradise or whatever.
Nope.
So she's going to be having these, like, forced relationship with these guys that, like, just clearly aren't even, like, a good match for her.
Right.
So, whatever. Kenny King, Pitbull King, Kenny, whatever his name is.
All right, you don't have to say his whole, like, you don't have to do that to Kenny.
Kenny is going to be there. Maybe Kenny and and Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
Both
two parents
come together. We'll see how that goes. Next is Kevin, Bachelor in Winter Games, Bachelorette.
Oh my
Canada
God.
Kevin. Who, he is not cute. I'm sorry. He's not cute. This picture is not cute.
He looks like he has a great body, Kevin.
He's got a great body, but...
We're going to just go on that.
Yeah. He has the makings to be like a hunk. I know we talked about this in Winter Games. Like, he's supposed to be like textbook, like, hunk. But the face isn't working for me. Sorry.
Let me tell you something. That forehead is a 7 head.
The forehead, yeah. And the hair, it's like a little thin. On the thinner side. He's got to hit up Leo for his deep conditioning treatment.
Oh my God, he does.
Because he's doing something right, and Kevin is...
Kevin
hair looked like it's breaking.
Needs a protein treatment.
Protein treatment. Crazy Crystal is gonna be there.
Of course.
Everybody's talking on Twitter that they want to see Crystal and Jordan together.
Oh yeah.
They seem to be made for each other, so
I guess so.
We'll see if any love match there. Nick, tracksuit lawyer Nick, the white Josiah is gonna be there.
The white Josiah.
He's gonna be there. He has a very nice body. He looks cute in his picture.
You know what, girl? You go ahead.
I'm just saying an objective statement. I don't want him. I'm not going for don't go ahead. Don't give him me. I don't want him. I'm just saying he looks cute. Moving on. Nisha from Ari season, one of the black girls who obviously went home because like there could only be one, one. Sian was the only one that really went through.
Yeah.
So we don't know Nisha at all, but if she's black, we'll be rooting for her, and she'll be there.
Yep.
In paradise. Bachelor Nation's favorite, Tia, will be there.
Another bore.
And I don't really care about talking about Tia actually.
Yep. Nope.
And then our bartenders, Wells from JoJo season, and he was Bachelor in Paradise bartender last season. He's also dating a homegirl from Modern Family, Sarah.
Modern Family?
Himes, I want to say. Himes.
Oh, the one who plays the oldest daughter?
He's hit the jackpot. Wow. He's hit Bachelor jackpot. He found a real celebrity. Yeah.
With that syndication money?
Right? Got him a good one.
Okay, Wells.
They've been dating for a hot minute, so he's just the bartender. And then Yuki from Bachelor in Japan.
Who is making everyone like water? Like, what is she gonna make everyone?
Has she been old enough to even drink? How old was she? She's like 19.
I think she was like 20.
Dumb young, but she'll be there bartending. I'm glad they didn't put her in the cast.
Me either.
Because that would have just been annoying and stupid.
Yeah.
But she'll be there to add some comedic relief as our bartender. And that's it. Really good cast. I'm hella excited to see what the hell is going to happen this season. Yeah. And keep in mind with Bachelor in Paradise, people go home and then they bring in new people every week. So this is like the starting cast, I'm assuming. I'm not sure. But new people will be joining. And so more possibility for some other Bachelor favorites to pop up.
And this is my first Bachelor in Paradise, guys. I've never seen one episode of this show. I'm so
excited for you to start this. It is the best. It is so ratchet. And at the same time, they actually find love on the show.
Yeah.
Because they actually spend time and go on dates and like they're just on the beach getting drunk and hanging out all day. So you don't have to wait to go on a date. You can just sit there and like fall in love with somebody like while you're sitting there.
Get to know someone.
Exactly. So very, very excited. And that is it for all of our announcements. Should we finally jump into the recap now?
30 minutes later, yeah.
Okay, let's jump to this episode. So we are in Virginia, which is apparently for lovers.
Have you ever heard that before?
I had never heard that in my life.
Never.
But they really were pushing it heavy on this episode. So Virginia's for lovers. They are in Richmond, Virginia. which is like definitely the complete opposite of Vegas where they just were.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's already messed up. And so yeah, so Becca's excited to be in a new place. She's telling Chris Harrison she's excited that she's starting to feel these feelings of love again. Starting to feel potential with these guys, yada yada. So the guys arrive at their new hotel. They're all excited. Again, Virginia, the land of lovers. They're like feeding the guys these lines. Jason, you know for damn sure you ain't never heard none about Virginia being the land for lovers. Yet here he up in his confessional talking about, I'm so excited to be in Virginia, the land for lovers. I'm like, stop pushing this. What?
Like, did the state of Virginia, do you guys need tourism? Like, what's going on there?
They must. Because,
they must.
Yeah. And what is this new marketing angle of making this, like, this romantic spot for people? Like, very bizarre.
Right.
Anyways, so Jason, at the start of the episode, he's getting a lot of screen time. So we're finally get to see him a lot. Jason, he reminds me of so many things. So I've been calling him... sorry. I've been calling him Wolf of Wall Street all season because he had the slick back hair, and that's what he just like made me think about. This episode, seeing him, same slick back hair, but he was always wearing like a leather jacket, or at least in the beginning of the episode, he was wearing like a leather jacket. He was giving me very much like 90s teen pop idol like vibes. I wrote on Twitter, he reminded me of Joey Donner from 10 Things I Hate About You. And then if you just name any like 80s child star like that, he was giving me that vibe.
Definitely very Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, very Saved by the Bell. So that was one thing that he was reminding me of. And then a whole other thing that he was reminding me of, he just looked very like stereotypical Jersey boy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Jersey boy from like, or like if you're watching like Grease or like West Side Story, like that character, he had the long silver chain with the cross at the end. Which we love a chain on the show. We love seeing a guy in a chain. We talked about it before. It gives us like white boy swag vibes. This wasn't white boy swag vibes though. This was like...
No, it was too specific.
It was like millennial Guido of 2018. It was like... Just like stereotype Jersey Shore, but not like trashy Jersey Shore, like a new age Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
I don't know. You just make me think of a lot of things. This Jason character, he looks like a character to me.
He does. That's what I was gonna say. He really looks like he just doesn't have his own unique style. He's like copying directly from
West Side Story,
specific movie.
So weird. Like I don't think the slick back hair and the leather jacket, he like can't wear that. The two of them together, he just looks like a Halloween costume.
That jacket was wearing him.
Exactly. That's the definition of being worn by your clothes. Very cute though. I think he's very good looking. I really love his face. He's got a good face. Yeah,
yes.
He's a little cutie. So anyways, Jason aside, Chris R. He's doing a lot of talking this episode, so let's get it started now.
Yapping nonstop.
He is looking forward to this week being his redemption week. Lord knows he knows it, or Lord knows he needs it after his drama and foolishness last week. He really showed his ass to Becca. So anyways, date card comes out. It's a one-on-one for Jason. It says life is full of surprises. So after poor little Jason didn't even get to relish in his glory of his date card because here comes Chris with the drama already. Literally yapping, ruining all positive moments of this entire episode with some just drama. So he declares how he wants a one-on-one, even though he's had one, so that don't even make no damn sense. How he wants a one-on-one and just sitting there with all this attitude and all this just extraness in front of the guys. Lincoln, being the antagonizer that he just always is, tells him like, well, just confronts him. They're going back and forth, and then somebody brought up like the possibility of there being a 2-on-1, and the two of them are back and forth bickering. Like, if I was on a 2-on-1, like, you ain't shit. I want to beat you. Like,
puffing out their chest.
Puffing out their chest, doing the same shit they do all the damn time. And then this moment was just ridiculous for me. Chris then accuses Lincoln of body shaming. Did you catch
So
this?
I missed it. I missed the moment where he was body shamed.
So, yes, me too, girl.
Okay. I heard something about him having boobs.
So Chris, by the way, this is my nigga you ain't shit moment, because Chris is really reaching here.
Yeah.
So Chris, apparently, he must have said this before, because I kind of remember this. He had lost a lot of weight. I don't know if he used to be like super obese or something, but he lost a ton of weight. And so part of his story is that he's like lost all this weight and he's like kind of a new person and blah, blah, blah. So I don't recall hearing Lincoln say something about his body.
No, but Lincoln be talking fast and he has an accent, so maybe he said something crazy.
He could have said something crazy. I totally missed it. All of a sudden, Lincoln's getting accused of being a body shamer, and I was just like, Chris, you really out here reaching.
All of a sudden, it became a Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion.
Yes. Literally. Oh my god. So that was my nigga you ain't shit moment, because Chris is just forever trying to paint himself into the victim, and he is literally that person. Like, literally he sounds like a housewife, and that person who's always like, he would be the type to say like, you're bullying me. Like, stop ganging up on me. You guys are bullying. Like, one of those people that overuses the word bullying when really it's just three people who are telling you some things you need to hear, and suddenly you feel like attacked and you're being bullied.
Right.
Like, that is he is that person. Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
And it's really just because he can't ever admit when he's wrong. That's it.
Right, and he can't stop talking.
And he can't shut the hell up. He has an answer to everything. He has a rebuttal to everything. He has something to say at all times. And he, through all of this, can never admit when he's wrong and humble himself to shut up or say, you know what, you're right. Which is the pinnacle of, like, adulthood. Like, that is the shining example of when you've become an adult, when you can humble yourself and shut the fuck up and say, you know what, I'm wrong. He can't do that. He's clearly a child and hasn't grown up yet. And so that moment was really a true example of that. And so, a little drama starting off already. So Jason then goes off on his one-on-one date. And for their one-on-one date, they are doing nothing. They're just gonna explore Richmond. So
this moment, right, where I feel like because his note said the day is full of surprises or whatever the hell it said, he was like really acting excited about certain things that were not exciting. Like going on that trolley. He was like, oh my god, it's a trolley. Like, Jason.
Because they gassed him up and said there's gonna be surprises. So he's like, shit, all of these I need to act surprised because these could be the surprises that they allegedly said we had.
Like, this might be the best it gets.
Exactly. So I need to like give this over the top, like, oh my god, thanks. Oh my god. But yeah, they didn't have shit planned for this date, so
nope.
Becca did say that she is always enjoying her time with him, and she says that, hold on. Okay, no, so Becca's saying she's excited to go on this date with him. She's always enjoyed her time with him, which, as viewers, we wouldn't know that because we haven't seen Jason at all.
Yeah, I think she says it's like an unexplainable chemistry.
Yeah.
She says, like, I don't know what it is, but I'm really attracted to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, girl, I'm glad you don't know either.
Right, because we haven't seen a
don't.
damn thing, but we'll take your word for it. So they're just going around Richmond, getting to know each other. Then, randomly and suddenly, they arrive at this gothic party.
Well, they were at a church. This is my Get Me to Wakanda moment.
Okay.
Because
yes.
They were at a church touring this church. It was like the first church ever built in the United States or something, in like 1483 something. And then they end up going to this unhappy hour for Edgar Allan Poe, which is the direct contact with Satan. And I just know. I know it's just not of Jesus, and I have to get me to Wakanda. I gotta get out. Nope. I don't even watch Stranger Things, you guys. That's how
oh my god
averted I am to all of this. So I would just be sitting there probably nervously laughing and just not doing anything. I would just be totally mute.
And they brought Christian Becca to this pagan fest, whatever the hell this shit was. It was so weird. They gave no explanation. It was just like gothic ass crazy looking white people drinking blood or wine, whatever the hell was in that glass. Looked nuts.
Yeah. This is what I'm talking about, these cheap dates.
Yeah, cheap and just random. And like, I don't even know. There's so much people on production, so many interns. Like, they can't all put their heads together and come up with something better than this. Go to tour at a church and then go to some pagan fest after.
See, this is why they need black people working on the show, because they would never have this.
No, this would have never been a date. Hell no. Never. That's for damn sure. Do not mess with that witchcraft and demon
absolutely
shit.
Not.
That's a no.
And then those spirits calling people, having happy hours for dead people.
So yeah, they're at this craziness. Becca says that she likes how with Jason, every conversation they have, she learns a little bit more about who he is. When she said that, it made me again really like Jason. Because for the last few weeks, we've been dealing with a lot of men spending time on their one-on-ones talking about drama.
Other people.
Talking about other people. And so Jason, I feel like he's the type that goes into every conversation and doesn't, one, bring up anybody else and really uses that time intentionally to, like, learn something or to share something new with her about him.
Right.
Which is what you're supposed to be doing on the show. But I feel like we've gotten away from that because these guys are just fucking petty. So, after that, she lets him know that she has a big surprise for him. Finally, we actually get, like, a legitimate surprise. And they walk into this bar, and there's Jason's 3 best friends there to surprise him.
And this was my Becca You Aight moment.
Oh, okay.
Because I thought this was really, really nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've done this on the show before, but I just thought it was really sweet how she tried to make him feel comfortable on the one-on-one date. Because in a lot of these one-on-one dates, she's been the one who's had to be comforted because of the foolishness that's going on in the house or the foolishness that went on the night before or whatever. And so for her to bring in his friends, I thought that was really cool. Really nice.
Yeah. And also, like, a huge advantage.
Very, very big advantage.
Huge advantage for Jason. So when Becca sits with his friends, he got some good friends because they were saying like some real like clutch things that you would want your friends to come and like drop these little nuggets. His one friend said Jason is as good as advertised, which is like I like the way he just like put that. Like what you see is what you get with him, which is what the vibes I was getting from Jason anyway. So hearing his friends say that, I was like, okay, he's a legit dude. And yeah, he says as good as it's advertised, he's a good one, basically. Like just letting her know that like he's a legit person. And we co-sign him. And Jason is with his friends who must be so weird. Like even when he like kissed Becca in front of them. One, they just met her. 2, it's weird seeing your best friend like making out with or like kissing someone who you haven't met with, and you know that they've only been dating for like 3 weeks, and also there's like 50 guys back at the house. Like
that's the weird part.
That's the weird thing. Yeah.
That's the weird thing is that you know she has 9 other boyfriends.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's a little weird, but when Jason was with his friends, he was telling them that like she has everything that he's looking for in a person, so they're like on a good track and see where things go kind of thing. But yeah, huge advantage for Jason. I think she got a lot of good insight into his character outside of just what he tells her. She gets to hear from the friends, who obviously are, like, super biased. They're only going to say good things. But,
yeah, right.
They were very, like, intentional in the wording that they use. Like, saying that he's as good as advertised is way different than just saying, like, oh, yeah, he's such a good person. Or, like,
right.
you know, he's such a nice guy. Like, that doesn't mean anything. But, like, the way they put things, I was like, oh, shit. Okay. So time for the night portion of their date. Becca looks bomb. I love this outfit.
Yeah, it was cute.
It was like a long sleeve, off the shoulder black dress, like a simple little black dress, but I love things that are like off the shoulder. It's like a thing now. She looked bomb. Becca tells Jason that she's like never felt that he's been closed off or reserved, and he has like no problem being vulnerable, which is really good. Jason then follows that up with a story, being vulnerable, essentially. Talking about I think it says grandma had Alzheimer's.
Yep. And his dad's mom.
His dad's mom. And how he would go with his dad to go visit his mom, and there's this one time that they went to visit her, and she looked into his dad's eyes and she didn't know who he was. The Alzheimer's, which is really sad. Alzheimer's is one of like this, to me, like the saddest diseases ever.
Yeah. Sure.
Devastating to deal with. And so he saw his dad, you know, have to like power through that moment, which is really devastating as a son. And then kind of like saw him crying in private, which is so heartbreaking. And that he learned from that moment that, like, you know, you can't take anyone for granted, and you can't take time for granted. You need to cherish people, blah, blah, blah. And then Becca takes the time to then become vulnerable herself. She talks about losing her dad when she was 19, but he had actually been sick since she was 14, and she was told that he only had 6 months to live, which I never understood why they do that.
Listen, because they could keep going.
They usually do. I've heard this story so many times where they're like, he told me he only had 6 months to live, and then he lived another 10 years. Like, why even set people up like that? Like, I'm always, I don't know, I gotta talk to a doctor about, like, what are the, like, when are the cases that they say that, and why do they do that, and, like...
It's gotta be protocol, so that people can prepare themselves.
Yeah.
But it's still bizarre because it's never inaccurate.
It's usually never accurate, yeah. Like, so he was, at 14, she was told he had 6 months to live, and he ain't died till she was 19, so he lived a whole another 5 years. And she told the story about how they all watched him take his last breath. It's getting real deep here with Jason. I think with Jason and Becca, which they both said, was that they feel safe with each other. And so they're able to share these things, like, very, very quickly. And like I said, I'm getting a read on Jason just through the television screen and, like, this editing that they're giving him, which isn't much because we haven't really met him that much. That he just seems like a genuine kind of dude. Or when you sit with him, you, like, feel that genuineness from him, so it's easy for you to just, like, talk about sad shit.
Yeah, and, I mean, the fact that she told him this detail of her father's story, of her father's passing, is really telling, because she told Garrett that he reminds her of her dad and all the rest of that stuff, but never told him the story. Right.
I'm curious how many guys she's had this conversation with.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we obviously, because of editing, we don't see it all, but, they keep choosing to show with Garrett the whole, you remind me of my dad, but they haven't shown her having the conversation.
Which, this is an imperative conversation if you're going to tell someone that detail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I would hope that she would have said something, but I feel like she hasn't. I feel like he was just like, oh, really? And had that stupid smile going from east to west. And then...
You were so creeped out by his smile.
I hate it. Oh, my God, I hate it. And then they start making out.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's it. Versus with Jason, she can, like, spill everything and kind of exhale, right? And then also make out.
And also do a little make out, yeah. Yeah, I think this one-on-one date was huge, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it really, I think it solidified Jason for Hometowns at least. Yeah, hometowns at least. Because they both had very vulnerable, deep-ass moments, and you only can feel more connected to the person after that. And so I feel like now her relationship with him, it might be kind of surpassing some of the other guys if she hasn't had these deep conversations about her father and stuff with them yet. That Jason's already kind of, jumped over them. So, date rose comes out. He obviously gets the date rose. And she says that her feelings have grown exponentially and that they've connected on a whole other level. So yeah, that's basically what we just said. Her feelings are just all the way over compared to some of the other guys after this. And so they go, up into some watchtower, make out, do all that good, all that good stuff.
All that good B-roll.
All that good stuff. And Becca says that she's falling for Jason. And so back at the suite, the guys are chatting about Chris's mental breakdown. And how he is just slowly becoming unhinged as the seconds go by. And all the guys are pretty anxious about this upcoming group date as, things are getting real. So date card shows up. On the date card, Colton, Garrett, Wills, Connor, Blake, Lincoln, and Chris. The only person not on the card is Leo, long-haired Leo. So that means he's getting the one-on-one.
One-on-one date.
Yes. And the group date card says, let's make history. Chris, still talking so much. The way he talks about going on this date was almost like he was going into battle, or he was going into a football match or like a game of some sort.
Yep.
He said, quote, "This is do or die for me. I'm hoping to come out victorious."
Oh my God.
Are you on a group date or are you going into the Coliseum? Like, what are you talking about? Just so dramatic.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Oh my God, Chris. Relax. So, time for the group date. The men show up. They're all dressed in suits. They meet Becca at the Capitol, which is the Capitol building in Richmond. And we're told that Richmond is one of America's most historic cities.
Oh, listen, we keep being told all these things.
Right.
Okay.
I feel like they've crafted a whole new narrative for Richmond. I didn't know none of this. So they go inside to the Capitol, and there we have two, what do you call these things? Like
I was gonna say cosplayers, but that
cosplay.
That's not a thing, though.
It's
president
cosplays, not Comic-Con, Justine. Reenactors? Is that what it is?
Reenactors. Sure, reenactors.
So, cosplay. So funny. Close. So, we have two, historic reenactors. One of them is George Washington, slave-holding George Washington, don't get it twisted, and Abraham Lincoln. And they're going to be...
So, wait.
Huh?
Have you seen Abraham Lincoln's on the train?
What?
No, I be seeing these niggas. There are multiple Abraham Lincolns walking around New York City at all times.
What do you mean?
I be seeing guys dressed up like Abraham Lincoln on the train all the time.
Dressed up as an Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah. With the whole deal.
Where are they going?
And they look just like him. I don't know where they're going. But they're always on the train, though.
I've never seen these cosplay Abe Lincolns around New York. What?
I've seen at least 3.
That is very strange.
Oh.
Where are they going?
Okay, never mind.
So we're there with George Washington, Abe Lincoln. They're going to be learning history because, quote unquote, Virginia's history is America's history. What they said.
Okay, no.
This naturally was my get me to Wakanda moment. Thank you very much.
Hello.
Because all I kept thinking in that moment, when you say Virginia's history is America's history, I'm thinking like a history of bloodshed and woe and oppression of my peoples.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I also was
until quite recently.
Because I was also thinking about that. The Nazi white supremacist fucking rally that they did at UVA.
Yep.
So, I don't know, they're coming up with this positive, like, America's history and Virginia's history is one and the same. Like, it sure enough is. Full of triflingness against my people. But don't let me get into that. Let's move right along. Let me get on my soapbox real quick, turn this into a whole nother podcast. And so, we learned that the guys are going to participate in a debate called Beccalection 2018. Mm-hmm. Very strange that they're having an election-themed date. That's just very bizarre to me.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, it's like the spelling bee date that Rachel had.
Spelling bee I can take. Election-themed, and this year, 2018, very...
I know. We're sensitive.
Yeah, very sensitive. This is not what I wanted to see. But anyways, we're going for it. So the guys are standing on stage, all in front of their individual podiums, being asked questions. They basically have to, like, give their answer, defend themselves or whatever. First question came from the governor of Virginia. So,
oh my God,
he clearly has time in his schedule to go to Bachelorette, like, taping.
Listen, because he planned this whole thing so that they can get tourism for the bed and breakfast.
That's true.
This is a whole thing.
Tourism board coming together.
Yes.
So the governor of Virginia is there. He asks Colton, what's your perfect date with Becca? He talks about taking her to a dog park and, quote, continue to grow their relationship. Sounds like a very boring date to me. Okay. Colton, very disappointed in my baby daddy. That's not how I envisioned us spending time together. But, okay. I do love dogs, love a dog park, but where are we going to eat?
Yes.
What are we talking about? Like, I need more details. It was a very womp answer for me.
Yeah.
Mr. Abraham Lincoln asked Lincoln, what future do you envision with Becca?
Oh
Lincoln, we didn't get his full answer. They only showed the petty part of it, where he said, not once has it crossed my mind to go home like Chris. So here we come with the bullshit and drama already.
Here we go.
Blake was asked a question from Chris Harrison, which is a question just designed to stir up shit. Mm-hmm. He asked, has everyone in the house, something along the lines of, has everybody in the house been real? Blake, who don't want to be starting nothing, he just said yes. Everybody's been, chill.
See? Because my boo doesn't want to be
involved in this nonsense. Mm-mm. Chris, who can't wait for the bullshit, couldn't wait for the nonsense to come, just fully just dive right in. He disagrees and thinks there are men in the house who haven't been truthful, and Becca would be disgusted if she knew what was going on in the house, and blah, 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 blah. Lincoln chimes in and is like, well, I don't really know who he's talking about. And Chris says, I'm talking about you, nigga. And these people, mind you, everybody, these niggas are on stage in front of a crowd of like hundreds and are doing this back and forth bullshit.
Oh
my god.
Oh, wow.
So Chris is like, I'm talking about you. And then proceeds to stand on stage again in front of these hundreds of people and spill the entire tea of that stupid fight that the two of them had earlier in the day, where they're talking about if you went on a 2-on-1 date, who would last, and I'll beat your ass, and like that stupid little petty conversation they had. He decided to rehash the entire thing word for word on stage for these strange people in the audience.
And what killed me about this is that Lincoln is a sex offender. So there's like real reason to be against Lincoln. And you are sitting there talking about how he fat shamed you.
Yes.
And that is just, it was a really disappointing moment for me watching the show as a viewer who has access to the internet. and who knows what's wrong with this man aside from what he quote unquote did to Chris.
Which is what's making it really weird to watch the show as a viewer.
To watch.
There's so much outside of the show nonsense that we already know. So watching Lincoln say or do anything is just like stupid.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So Chris got on stage and did this whole foolishness and then ended his rants with basically saying how he's, mad that he keeps having to defend himself. And then again said in his confessional, like, how many times do I have to defend myself? And it's like, bruh, you are causing all of the drama.
Right. You're defending yourself against yourself.
So... Like, it's, again, with the victim, victimizing himself, though. Like, I keep defending myself. Stop. I don't want to defend myself anymore. And it's like, you are not the victim here. You are the perpetrator of the crime. Stop. This dude is nuts. So, time for the nighttime portion of their date. They show up to this haunted looking mansion.
Yeah, you guys, Richmond is not, I don't know, man. It's not making me want to go.
It really wasn't. This really, I'm sorry to the Richmond tourist board, but this episode didn't work.
Listeners.
Yeah, this episode didn't work for me.
Just email us some other stuff we could do.
Yeah, shout out to the Richmond listeners that we're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, to our Richmond, our
what
Virginia
did they miss?
peeps.
What did you wish that they showed? Because this year episode was not it. They have their nighttime date in this haunted-ass mansion filled with all these old antiques and creepy-ass paintings of little children. It was very weird. So Becca, she comes in, she sits with the guy, she tells them, today was obviously a little bit awkward, but let's move on from that. Let's enjoy the night. Give a nice cheers. And then Lincoln grabs Becca first, which was a very smart move. Why hasn't Chris learned? I'm just sitting here like, you are such an idiot. The last thing he said to us was that he's so tired of defending himself, defending. When Becca comes to her one-on-one or for the cocktail party, you should be the first person to grab her. Because if anybody goes before you, you're then, when you go, having to sit and defend yourself.
Right.
So if you're going first, you'll be on the offense. But since now you're going to go second, you're automatically be on the defense. Like, why doesn't he figure this shit out? It's not that hard.
The last episode, you sat back and waited. And that did not fare well for you. Dude. It did not work.
Oh, my goodness. And so, yes, Lincoln goes up first. So Lincoln goes up first and tells Becca how he, is embarrassed by the day and then talks about how he feels threatened in the house.
He's always feeling threatened in
always feeling like somebody's coming for him. It was not Colton, it was Connor first, when Connor threw the thing and all of a sudden his life's in danger. So he's feeling threatened in the house by Chris, doesn't know what Chris is capable of, yada yada yada. Back with the guys, Colton, Mabu, confronts Chris. Colton doesn't shy away from good confrontation. He sure doesn't.
He does not. With anyone.
He don't have no qualms about speaking for the house and letting you know that this is some bullshit. So he confronted Chris and basically was like, why did you feel the need to get on stage and show your entire ass to the world in front of 200 people? You spilled all of the good tea that's happening in the house on stage. Why?
Yeah.
What was the purpose of that? So Chris takes it upon himself to now try and dip it on Lincoln's time to go steal time with Becca. And Becca immediately confronts him about Lincoln, and Lincoln telling her that he doesn't feel safe with him. And then allegedly, I don't know how this came up, but allegedly Connor was asked to switch rooms because he doesn't feel safe with Lincoln, or with...
Allegedly with
Chris. And Chris, naturally, as he does, had a rebuttal for everything. And Becca, Becca was not backing down. She was coming at him like full swing too. Yeah. And Chris, his answer basically saying that like all of this is fabricated. Lincoln's lying on me, blah blah blah. So Garrett decides to come in to steal time with Becca, and send Chris, packing to go back to the boys. And Becca, she's just still noticeably very frustrated from her conversation with Chris, and like she's not gonna be able to have any useful, meaningful time with Garrett right now.
Right.
And so she tells him like, I need 5 minutes, like I'll come and get you. Which I think it's always healthy, or it should be mandated, that she gets at least 5 minutes in between each guys.
Yeah, because she was probably just done making out with one of them, so that's a lot.
Yes, I always think about this. Like she goes from, during the cocktail party, she has mini one-on-one dates with like all the guys, or like 10 guys at a time. And they each just come in and jump in. Can I steal her? Can I steal her? Can I steal her? So she never really gets like a 5-minute like buffer to just like collect her thoughts, rinse with some mouthwash. Like she just jumps from one to the next each time. So anyways, when she tells Garrett she needs 5 minutes, this is like blasphemy in the Bachelor world. And this is like unheard of. So anyways, Chris, he goes back to the group of guys. He immediately asks Connor, what the hell? Did you tell Becca that you were scared of me? Like you didn't want to be around me or something?
Yeah.
Connor's looking at everybody like, who said that?
Who said that? Who said that?
Connor ain't saying none of this stuff, so he is hella confused that his name is being brought up over something he literally didn't say. And so Lincoln is caught because obviously it was Lincoln. He was the only other person that talked to Becca this night.
Listen, and Lincoln was sitting there perched. That was the adjective I had for the pose that he had, with his hand on his hip and his drink in his other hand. He looked like a judge on RuPaul's Drag Race. He was sitting there like, that was his face.
Yep. Yeah, I said it. What? Yep, I lied on you, and what? Like,
looking like Nene at a Real Housewives reunion once again.
Very bizarre. So, Lincoln's caught. He obviously has to admit that it was him, and of course he's trying to like talk around. I didn't say it that way. I actually said this. And it's like Connor's still sitting here like, what the fuck? I didn't say any of this. Why is my name being brought up in conversations? Like, this is so strange. And so, yeah, at that moment, like, all hell broke loose. All the guys are bickering. Connor's pissed. Chris is calling Lincoln a liar. Everybody else is just sitting here like, what the fuck's going on? Will's always giving me the funniest looks of the episode. He is just done with everybody. He might be done with this show. He might be done with this whole process. This is just a lot for him. His face is just always giving me the funniest. He's just so finished with all of these people. And so Garrett comes back, tail beneath his legs. Becca told him that she needs time. And Garrett is pissed because he didn't get time to talk to Becca. And I had to crack up at this moment. He said, quote, I didn't get to talk to her and I was going to open up tonight.
Oh my God. Yo. I was howling.
Oh, these are only words spoken by men in the Bachelor Nation world. You would never hear a man out in these streets talk about, tonight I was going to open up to her. Like,
I was going to open up to her, man.
Oh my God, poor little Garrett. Didn't get to share another sob story or whatever the hell he wanted to do.
Yeah, it was like, open up about what, Garrett? Get out of here.
And so the guys are pissed. Garrett is pissed, obviously, because he's saying whatever you said or did to her, Chris, she's now in a bad mood and has ruined the night for all of us. They're all naturally worried that Becca is going to cancel the cocktail party again, which she's done before. But she don't give a shit about you. She needs to go take a nap because y'all are giving her fucking headache. She will cancel a cocktail party with the swiftness. So they're all very anxious about that happening. And yeah, noticeably pissed. Becca does collect herself. She eventually comes back, does grab Garrett.
takes them away for their one-on-one time. So now Garrett, I guess this is what he wanted to do, open up, quote unquote. He wanted to open up to her tonight. He shares with Becca his closing statement from the debate.
Oh, yeah. I was like, girl, what are you even talking about? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I forgot.
He said he wanted to open up tonight. This was his,
And this was it? What he was going to say in front of 200 people anyway? Okay, yeah, sure.
So he read this little, whatever the hell he had written down on some napkin. He, to me, sounded like a third grader reading, like, his book report.
Yo, why does he... I wrote down, my only note was, Garrett is a fucking dweeb. That's all I wrote down.
Dweeb.
Like, I have nothing else for this man. He's just so shallow to me.
Yeah, he taught, when he was, I said a third grader specifically because he was talking in very simple sentences when he was reading his closing statement. Like, no word had more than no sentence had more than, like, 5 words in it. I like you, Becca. I've enjoyed our time together. I'm feeling the feelings of growing in love. It was just, like, very short sentences all strung together, and, like, that's the best he can give because he doesn't seem like the smartest, star in the galaxy. So Wills gets his one-on-one time with Becca, and he drops the L word. He tells her that he is falling in love with her.
Mm-hmm. He's mumbling.
He mumbles a lot.
I need you to speak up.
I need you to speak up, Wills.
When you have the nerve to wear a matching pattern set with athletic socks and Yeezys, you need to speak up, my friend. You cannot just be wearing that and be mumbling.
I mean, he must have been nervous in this moment. He's telling her that he's falling for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, he dropped the L word. And then group date rose comes out, and Becca says, this guy who gets the rose, he's always treated me like a princess, always puts me first. And she gives the rose to Colton.
Mm-hmm. This is what? His, like, third group date rose?
That's what I was thinking, too. I was like, he always gets the group date rose. Gotta go back and look at that, but I feel like, he's gotten quite a few. Which is cool, because that means he goes into most rose ceremonies already with a rose. So he never has to stand up there and, like, wait for his name to be called, which is, like, so nerve-wracking. He always goes in feeling very confident. So Colton gets a group date rose. Chris is still talking a whole bunch of mess.
Oh my gosh.
Won't shut up. And did you notice over the course of the episode, Chris became physically less attractive?
Yeah, because he kept, like, hunching and kind of, like, crouching with his head down. He just didn't look very manly.
I would just say, like, just his attitude, just throughout, he just he just morphed into, he went from gospel Chris, who was cute and like, ooh, let's see what he's gonna be about, to just this weirdo with all this pettiness and drama and acting literally like a third grader. And so by the end of the episode, he didn't even look attractive to me, like, at all. It's getting uglier by the confessional. And so next up is Leo for his one-on-one dates. Becca going into this date is, as she said, emotionally spent. She is basically, she's going on this date because the producers are forcing her to, and
yep, they told her, we got one more day in this Richmond hotel, girl. You better make the most of it.
Get on this here date. You gotta go. You could tell she's just, like, not into it. She looks like she needs a day off. She really looks like she needs a day off. She's been put through the ringer with these dudes, and who the hell wants to now put on a happy face and go on a date? So Leo arrives. They go on a plane ride over Richmond. The whole plane ride is just hella awkward. They're sitting there.
Oh my god.
In, like, awkward silence.
Smushed together, literally looking like Siamese
looking out
twins.
Of separate windows. Holding hands, I think. And, like, Becca has, like, a smile on her face because she knows the camera's on her, so she can't look the way she feels. Yeah. But they're both looking at separate windows, and it's fucking awkward. They even show, did you catch this? They show Leo at one point where he's looking down and he shakes his head. Did you catch that?
Really?
Yeah. Oh. He looked down at one, but she was looking out the window. He kind of looks down in between his hands, and he kind of, like, does a shake to his head. Because and I think the voiceover was him starting to talk about, like, how he could tell she's in her head and yada, yada, yada. So that fucking sucks. Can't even enjoy a date. So after the plane, they land somewhere. Becca and Leo sit, have a chit chat, and Becca, of course, admits that she's in her head and whatever. Leo says, like, look, don't fake this date and force, like, you're having fun. Like, we can just sit here and just, talk or do nothing also. And Becca, she's like, thank God, because, and then goes off on this 3-hour venting session. Like, she really clearly needs her girlfriends right now. And Leo is just here, so he's gonna just have to hear her vent about all this bullshit that she just went through the night before with Chris. And she didn't get a day off to even just, like, process all the drama. So she's she's doing this processing on his date, which fucking sucks for him.
for him, exactly.
So yeah, she goes on a whole rant. She goes the whole play-by-play of Lincoln and Chris and yada, yada, yada. Leo says a very telling thing. He says, quote, this process, and he's talking about, like, how this process is just hard and everything like that for both of them. And he says, quote, this process makes it easy to fall for you. Which is what we've talked about earlier on the show, how the whole Bachelor world is orchestrated for you to fall in love with this person. None of it is real, though. Like, all these lavish dates, like, put me in a plane with Becca. I might fall in love with this bitch by the end. But, like, none of it is real. You have to, like, remind yourself of that. Or else you, like Chris gets swept away in his emotions because he's not kept himself grounded at all. So to hear Lincoln say that, I was like, okay, I think he has a decent head on his shoulder. And, even just by saying, like, this process makes it very easy to fall in love with you. So that's why it's getting a little nutty right now with all the guys, because we're all having very deep feelings for you very quickly.
Right. Yeah.
So then Becca, she's feeling like an open book today. Just unleashing everything. So Becca then goes on a rant about how, I don't even need an engagement at the end of this. I really just want to find my person. I'm just looking for a good guy. But she did say she ain't looking for an engagement.
So, she might just get a hug.
She might get a little dry, little crisp hug at the end of all this.
A Christian hug.
Oh my God. I think it's interesting that okay, you have to really think. All of this is orchestrated. The editing is so orchestrating strategic. The fact that they decided to leave that in, her saying that, is very telling. And makes me almost feel like that there isn't an engagement at the end of this.
Yeah, which is totally fine. She was just engaged 20 minutes ago.
It's even stranger if she does get engaged at the end of this. Very interesting that they kept that in. That almost confirms for me in my head that there might not be an engagement at the end.
Yeah,
and that's totally fine. So after all of that, they go looking for oysters, shucking oysters, something like that.
Yeah, see, another, like, you guys. What?
Shucking oysters? I'm not sure what this is. The whole thing looked forced. Becca didn't look like she was having fun to me.
Yeah. No.
The smile, oh my God, yeah, it's so fun. Like, you could just tell she just is going through the motions, but I personally didn't really see chemistry with her and Leo.
You too? Either. I said there was something fake about Leo. There's something very forced about him. Like, you're supposed to be attracted to him. Because he's like that Jason Momoa knockoff situation, but she's not. Yeah,
she's just not. And that's totally fine. But I feel she was obviously forcing it, but there's also forcedness from him, too. Did you notice that?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He kept trying to say, like, he would always kind of, like, hug her, like, oh, you look so cute, or look at what you have on, or, like, this little stupid greeting when he's, like, when she came up, like, you look so pretty, like, it just felt so... like lines, like he was giving lines.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I wasn't into none of it. So anyways, time for the nighttime portion of their date. They go for dinner in City Hall, big lavish building. Becca, she tells Leo, like, look, you saw the worst in me today. Thank you for helping me through it. Leo then decides to open up about himself.
This is just... Oh my God.
I couldn't wait. I was looking at your face because I couldn't wait to see what you're going to say. Oh my God.
Has there ever been a whiter story of opening up than this one?
This was so stupid. This whole story
is so stupid.
And why do they feel the need to always have a sob story of some sort? Like, it's okay if your life was like good. Like, now you're sitting here trying to create problems between you and your dad or whatever the fuck. That poor dad gotta go back and watch this episode and see this bullshit that he made up. I can't. Okay, let me talk about it for the people who haven't seen the episode. So Leo shares this story. He said his parents have been married for over 40 years, which is like amazing. And how he's always idolized his father, his whole... I can't even tell.
Sorry. I guess I'm sorry.
I can't look at this scene. I can't.
I can't keep my face straight. This is why I have a hard time at work. Because these people be talking about their casseroles and, they cats that gotta go to the vet. And all these issues that they have that are not issues, are not real problems. And this was the same thing I was having scrolling through Instagram, not listening to Leo's story, because it wasn't a problem.
This is not even a first world problem. This is a make-believe problem that you just made up on the spot. So anyway, so he says his parents been married for 40 years. He's always idolized his father his whole life. He's always had this feeling that he is, he's failed his father because he, I guess, growing up, he was like really into baseball, and had dreams to become a professional baseball player, and he didn't make it to the pros, and so he, disappointed his father, and how he...
But did you, though? I feel like you didn't. I feel like your father
is fine. Like, it's very hard to make it to the pros. No one's a shoo-in, so the fact that you didn't make it is pretty natural. Like,
you didn't mention that your father was a baseball player.
No context of, like, stupid. Saying something like, oh, my dad, all those wasted days of playing catch, or some bullshit that he said.
Like, of him fathering? Of him... being a father, that was a wasted time.
Playing catch with his son.
I would have eliminated him on the
spot for this stupidness. Random ass story, like really, really searching for something. I don't know what. So then, at the end of that story, like the moral of the story is basically that like since then he's been like he's always been very hard on himself and feels like he's not good enough. Now, I wrote on Instagram, or I wrote on Twitter that, didn't Wills literally say that exact thing during his date?
Yeah, but he's
hard on himself.
But he was, but he had a real
He had an actual reason, because he had the devastating, crazy girl who wanted to have a hall pass or whatever.
And saw her.
So, I just found it very weird that Leo came almost verbatim with the exact same thing that Will said. So I'm like, one, this makes your story sound even faker. Two, did you, like, I'm sure the guys confide in each other a lot in the house. Mm-hmm. Did you just straight up steal that line from Wills?
He could have.
Like, what is this? So, yeah, that was his attempt at trying to connect with Becca. I don't know. Okay. Date Rose comes out. She gives him the date rose. I was shocked.
So was I.
I was really shocked.
I guess she really, really, really wanted to get rid of Chris, Connor, and Lincoln.
Yeah, I think so.
And probably didn't. That was probably her only 3 passes. She probably couldn't eliminate nobody else. And she had to give it to Leo.
That. But I was shocked to her because they clearly have no chemistry. Nope. And that story didn't touch me, so I don't know how it touched her in that moment. Particularly since she's so emotionally enraptured with all this other stuff. Like, you still had some emotional whatever left for that bullshit story to affect you. Like, what? If I was so emotionally, like, drained as she is, when he tells me this story, that shit would even, like, faze me. I would just laugh because I'm dealing with some real shit, and this dumb story that you're sharing ain't doing shit for me. Oh my god. So, yeah, they leave the date. They head off somewhere, walking down the street. Suddenly, those fucking double doors appear.
Guess who's here, guys?
Guess who? Oh, jeez.
Morgan
What's
Evans.
his name? Morgan Evans on stage. Room full of screaming white girls. They have to dance in front of everybody. Leo is doing the most awkward two-step sway that I've ever seen.
But you know what? He's very, very large, too. So it's probably hard for him to dance.
Very large. It always, I think it always looks a little strange when big guys like that dance at all. But yeah, a little awkward there. Back at the suite with the guys, Connor and Jason are talking about how crazy Chris is and how unhinged he's becoming. And the Bachelorette today saying shit because they were like splicing them talking with like this creepy music and footage of Chris like getting ready.
Literally like writing a letter in the dark. Yo, what are you doing?
It was like they're doing like a crime show reenactment.
Yes.
And he was like the killer or something. Yes. Very strange editing there. And so Chris is preparing for battle or whatever the fuck he's doing, and he's talking about how he's nervous, how he basically knows that him and Leo are like the bottom two. And so if Leo comes back from this date with a rose, that means that his ass is definitely going home. Who walks through the door, Leo?
Rose pinned to his chest.
Rose pinned right to his lapel. And as soon as he walks in, Chris basically like storms out the room. Yeah. And then we just see him walking down a street.
I feel like at that moment he lost his mind. Like, I feel like that was a moment that he completely lost his marbles.
Completely, like, the hinges
they fell off.
They're gone. And he is just out here. And so Chris, see him walking somewhere, and he's still going off about the whole Lincoln thing and how he just wants to show Becca his passion and all the love he has in his heart and blah, blah, blah. He's walking, and he is walking to Becca's hotel room where he surprises her, and she opens up the door, and she is obviously very shocked to see him standing there. And she's kind of, like, nervous giggling.
Yeah, she's definitely like, what is he about to do?
What the fuck is he doing here? He's literally the last person she wants to see. But she has to put on a little giggly face. And so she lets him in. Chris sits down. This is the thing with Chris that just pisses me off. He's always involved in some drama with some bullshit. And has to have these big confrontations with her. You have so much time in the house to, like, practice what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Or, like, run it by somebody, or just say it out loud so, like, you make sure you're not coming off as, like, pretentious or in the wrong. You have so much time to practice, and yet he always just says the wrong thing. I don't get it. He just doesn't learn.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Oh, my God. So anyways, he comes in, he says, there's been a lot of distractions, and I haven't really been able to talk to you about how... Distractions. Okay. Again, deflecting, not owning his shit. Deflecting. There's been distractions. Other people are distracted.
Even with this decision to go to her room, he was like, Becca's always telling us to do this. Becca's always telling us to do that. No, my guy. You are nuts.
You are a nutcase. End of, like, full stop. So there's been a lot of distractions. I haven't been able to, like, tell you how I feel. I've really had, like, a really good conversation with you. Blah, 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 blah. And, I can really confidently say I can quote, legitimately see myself marrying you. Becca, who we already know is just not here for the bullshit, her immediate response is, last week you said you wanted to leave, so how suddenly am I now you see me as your wife? Like, and riddle me this.
That's a great question.
Chris says, I felt that night, he's talking about the night where he pretty much broke down at that group date where she didn't come and find him or whatever, and he was too cool for school to go find her. He said, I felt that night that I did want to go home that night and that you just didn't really care about me. Deflecting, again, putting the blame on her. Becca, her rebuttal is, I gave you one of the very first one-on-one dates for a reason. So obviously I felt something for you. Like, how did all this insecurities just come out of the woodwork and just manifest themselves? Like, you should have felt good because you got a one-on-one date very early on. That means I saw potential in you from jump. Right. So Chris, oh God. This nigga decides to say, well, you know what? I just need you to not think about that drama anymore. We just need to move on. We just need to move on from that. As if it's up to you. Like, right. As if you get to set the timeline to Becca of when she can move on from things. When she gets over things. That should piss me off. I just don't want us to talk about that drama anymore. We need to move on from this. And so Becca, she comes back. She's like, I've been wanting to move past, Vegas and what went down. But now we have this new drama that popped up from yesterday. So, let's talk about that. Oh my God, this guy's a nutbag. So he comes back and is saying, like, you know what? I feel like there's a lot of what's the word?
Is it adversity? Is that what he said?
Adversity.
He said adversity?
I wrote down adversary. Now that I'm looking at it, that's not the word, Tasha. Oh. So. Adversity. I think it's adversity.
Oh my God.
Whatever. I don't have time to look in the dictionary. I think he said, I feel like there's a lot of adversity, but I'm not gonna let that stop me from going after what I want and from me building our connection. Again, good for you, Chris, but that's not how this works. For like the 10th time. It's not how this works. It's not up to you. You don't get to decide any of this. So Becca, she, she's done. She sighs and she's just like, look, I have so many questions and so many red flags that at this point I just don't even think we can get there. Like, there's too much shit. There's too much like rumors and drama. She's basically saying, like, the streets are talking. I heard this and that and this and that about you. We have too much ground to cover and to try and resolve right now, so you better just go home because I literally don't have the time. My bedtime is already past. Roast ceremony's tomorrow. We ain't gonna do this. Chris, I've been attacked the last week and a half. And blah, blah, blah. Becca, she's like, you've been doing some of the attacking. So, again, I repeat, we don't have a connection. You need to go. And she's like, you know what? Can I walk you out? This shit was weird.
This was my nigga you ain't shit moment.
Was it? Okay.
Because Christopher, you went and refused for her to walk you out? You really a bitch ass nigga, for real. You couldn't even give her a hug on the way out. After you came chasing down, which I'm sure was like 1:30 in the morning, and you were chasing her down, talking about you want her to be your wife, and now she can't even walk you out the door.
Because he is a big baby. Yeah. He didn't get his way. He came in with his victimized, his like little victim card that he's trying to play, and he thought that telling her that he sees her as his wife would work. Like this plan that he had all day to plan out, which was clearly a terrible plan. He thought it would work, and now that it's not working, he's pissed and can't manage his emotions, and now is taking it out on her and being a dick in these last moments. So she's trying to walk him out. He's like, nah. She said yes, nah. They're going back and forth. The whole show's so crazy.
And like simultaneously walking up the stairs.
Yeah. Okay. Oh my god. So yeah, she kicks him to the curb and he's gotta go. My question during this moment, Chris wasn't anticipating going home at this moment. So does he now have to go back to the suite and like pack his bags in front of all the guys?
Oh my god.
Oh, that is awkward.
I can't imagine.
Unless they all have their stuff packed already.
Because it was rose ceremony the next day, maybe.
And they're going to the Bahamas the next day, so maybe.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I hope to God, because if not, then that shit is just so awkward, and I don't wish that on anybody to have to walk back in that room and tell the guys, yep, I'm going home, and I need to pack my stuff. Crazy. So yeah, Becca, during her voiceover, as he's like walking down the street, whatever, she just said, I think Chris is a very angry person. He's not someone I would want to raise children with or want in my life ever. This was my Becca You Aight moment.
Nice.
Because she does not hold back. She does not mince her words.
Yeah.
I am still mad at the Bachelor producers for robbing Becca of her moment to whoop Ari's ass when he broke up with her. They brought those goddamn cameras in her face, so she couldn't really act out in the way that a woman would when a man is telling them that he's breaking up an engagement to go for this whack other bitch. And so they completely robbed her of that moment. And so now I think she's just out here just speaking her mind. Like, I don't give a shit. He is an angry person. He's not raising my kids. Like, all the terrible things that you say about a man who's just here trying to vie for your love. She just said them and doesn't give a fuck.
That's horrible to say, but I mean, it's not a lie.
It's not a lie. And she really out here. So, Becca You Aight, I like that. Like that little moment of hers. So time for the cocktail party, and the guys, you know, there's a few guys who haven't really seen or talked to Becca much, so they're looking forward to getting to, you know, plead their final cases with her. Connor is wearing the biggest, stupidest, dumbest bow tie I've ever seen.
Was he? I don't. He's another one who buttons his shirt down to the fourth button, so I don't pay attention to what he's wearing. It
was a big old floppy black bow tie. It made me realize that I just don't like bow ties. I'm not a bow tie person.
Sorry, Diggy. You're listening.
Yeah, sorry, Diggy. I think bow tie, if you're wearing a tuxedo,
yes, then it's a very
or you're going to like a formal event and it's part of it, I get it. But this casual bow tie thing that they're doing, it just doesn't work for me. It just looks stupid. So yeah, the guys are sitting down. They're ready for their cocktail party. Who comes walking around the corner? Chris Harrison. Come to rain on their parade. And as soon as you saw him come, you already know there ain't gonna be no cocktail party. And poor Connor just keeps getting screwed. He seems like he don't never get time to talk. He's always banking on the cocktail party.
He is.
He stays banking on a cocktail party.
That's probably why his buttons are unbuttoned all the way down.
Because he needs something.
He needs something to go off of.
Because it ain't his conversation with Becca, because they are never having any, because she keeps canceling these cocktail parties. Oh my god. So they go smooth into the rose ceremony. Becca knows who she's sending home, so she's not wasting no time. Going into the rose ceremony, Colton and Leo both already have roses. Becca arrives.
Oh, and Jason too.
Rose. And Jason already has a rose. So Becca arrives. First rose goes out to Garrett.
Of course.
Surprise, surprise. Always gets one of the first roses. Then to Blake, who we love. And then the last rose is up for grabs. And we have Wills, Lincoln, and Connor are left. And the final rose goes to Wills.
Yay!
Very exciting. So Connor and Lincoln are going home. So now Connor got a nice little exit package where he got to talk to the camera and talk about, you know, how sad he is, blah, blah, blah. Lincoln didn't get no exit package.
We didn't even see him hug Becca.
We didn't see a hug. We didn't get a final moment of Lincoln at all.
Nothing at all.
Not a damn thing. Fuck Lincoln and his sexual assault charge, who should have never been on this show any goddamn way. And the Bachelor producers, they knew better than to give him any final screen time or anything whatsoever. And so, that's it for him.
Good luck, bro. Good luck with your ankle bracelet.
Good luck. Good luck with that. See ya never. Oh, Lord. And then at the end, Becca announces that they're going to the Bahamas next week.
Yay.
And that was the episode. That was it. We did have a little preview at the end. We see Becca and Blake dancing, having fun. We see Becca and Colton on a boat. And we see a lot of kissing with Garrett.
Gross.
We also see Wills in a leopard shirt.
We do. He's branching out again with those fashion choices.
Branching out again. You really do. And I liked it, actually. I did. I liked it. I thought it was a good look for him. And basically, next week, we just see the guys just continuing to unravel and go nuts. And it's getting down to the wire. We have, 6, 7 guys left? Not that many guys left. So, it's getting real. And that was the episode, guys. As always, we want to remind you to rate, review, subscribe. Keep in mind our contest that we have coming. We do want you to, in the next 2 weeks, go and rate us, review us on iTunes. We will pick a random reviewer on Thursday, July 19th, to be able to come on the show and kiki with us. So definitely run over and do your rate and reviewing if you haven't already. And hit us up on Twitter. Our Twitter is the number 2 BLK Girls, the number 1 Rose.
And email us, especially for this episode, if you live in Virginia. Email us at the number 2 Black Girls, the number 1 Rose at gmail.com. And hit us up on Facebook too.
And that's it, guys. We'll be back next week, as always. Very, very exciting. It's getting good. This was a good episode. It was petty as shit, but it was good, actually. Good stuff.
Drama.
A lot of content. Good drama. All right, that's it. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye.